In this review, we're going to look at the Target exclusive, Marvel Legends Ragnarok. Ragnarok is a deluxe figure, comes in the same size box that like the Maestro and other larger deluxe figures came with. He's not as big as the big Hulks, of course, but he comes with several different accessories. And with the big window box, you can see clearly. You got the alternate glowing red-eyed Thor head, Mjolnir, an extra hand, a spinning hammer effect. He was originally supposed to come with another hand. You can see like robotic like skin peel off. You can see robotics underneath the hand, but they ended up canceling that for this set. I wish they could have kept that. I would have liked to have had some more robotic parts showing up besides just a face and the one hand. On the packaging, you got the Marvel, Thor, Marvel's Ragnarok, warnings, choking hazards, Hasbro logo, some artwork from the comics of Ragnarok. On the back, you got the same artwork and a bio in multiple languages. Legalese, warnings, your sad onion. You got your barcode on the bottom, Thor logo on the top. Here we see Ragnarok in the plastic tray. You can see all the accessories better. You got the main figure, the alternate head, hand, Mjolnir, multiple Mjolnirs. And on the back, you see the cape coming through. And here we have Ragnarok outside the plastic tray. He looks really good. If you have the 80th anniversary Thor, you pretty well know what to expect. It's mostly that reissue of that figure with some new accessories. That what's put at the deluxe price point. Well, speaking of accessories, let's take a look. First up, we got some stuff we've already seen before. We got the Mjolnir. It's really nicely done. It's weathered. It's a darker gray than the original release. You can see on the 80th anniversary, it's a lighter gray. It's weathered really nicely. The strap's painted up nice. And you got a nice weathered wash onto the hammer. And the inscription is really nicely done. It's done in a black. You get a good look in there. We got the open and grasping hand, which came with the 80th anniversary Thor. Let's take a close look at the head sculpts for the Thor. And like I said, this is the 80th anniversary Thor head with just red eyes, and this is the new head. They even have different hair sculpts. Didn't notice that at first. I thought these were going to be almost the same, except for just the faces. They are different. Are the wings same? The wings are different too. Interesting. You got the traditional Thor wings over here, and you got wing up top, wing at the bottom. That's pretty cool. I didn't notice that at first. I would have figured these would just been just a different face, because this is you can actually, the helmet's a different piece from the head. You can just swap those out, but they went the extra mile and actually resculpted the a lot of part, the hair and the helmet and the wings. That's cool. And the new accessory, we get the spinning hammer effect. At first when I seen this, it's like, why did he bother painting the inscription? If it's supposed to be spinning, you would never be able to read this. But it actually does spin. But most of the time it's going to be sitting on your shelf, it's going to be sitting like this. It still makes me think, why they didn't just put like lines on here to make it look like it's in motion instead of actually putting the inscription on each hammer. So when you spin it, you just get lines. This side is plain side on the hammer. And you get a new gripping hand for that accessory. This is different from the one that comes on the Thor figure. And it is vertically hinged. Good. And you get a new robot hand. I don't know if this has been used on another figure or not. I still wish we could have got the damaged cyborg hand for this side here. And the color scheme is a little bit different from the original 80th anniversary Thor. Skin tones are a little different. You got it's a lighter skin tone, a little more pinkish into the skin tones. The red on the cape is a lot brighter. It doesn't have as much shading on the cape as the original release too. And the hair is kind of plain looking comparative. You got a little more shading in the 80th anniversary hair. The boots and the belt, instead of being more of a yellow, it's more like a mustard. More brighter yellow on the original, more mustard, and there's actually less paint on this one compared to this one as too. Like the lower spots on the boots are black on the original, and plus those sculpted parts on the shoes are painted in gold on the original. And same with the belt, it's more of a brighter yellow on this one, more mustard here. Still got the gold on the Thor logo on the belt. For articulation, it's going to be a little bit hindered with Thor's head sculpted. You got the long hair coming back. So it's going to be harder to get them to look up without popping the head off. You can get them to look up a little bit, but the hair is going to stop that. It's going to be the same on both heads. You can see on the original, that head doesn't go up very far either. He can look down a little bit more, but it's still going to have the issue with the hair running to the chest. Disc in shoulders. Go up to here on both sides. Full 360, but it's going to run into the cape here. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Good range up. Hinge and swivel wrist. The robot hand has a horizontal hinge. The gripping hand has a vertical hinge. Diaphragm joint can go back this far. It's a little tight. Doesn't want to stay. Doesn't really go too far back, and without wanting to pop back, it's running into collision back here. Crunches forward. This much. You can rock side to side. There's a waist twist. Ball jointed hips. And do the full Van Damme. And go back very little. Kick forward. It wants to kick up to the side when it goes forward. Thigh rotation. Double joint knees. Get you up to here. There is a boot swivel. It's pretty well hidden with the straps. Hinged ankles. And ankle pivots. He's pretty well articulated. Like I said, if you've had the 80th anniversary Thor, you know what you're getting with articulation. This one is basically we're buying this to get the Ragnarok parts. Whereas a lot of people's probably buying it, get this for that Thor. The only issue with using this accessory with this Thor, you got to use this hand. But the skin color is a little off, but where you got that wrist guard, it wouldn't be really noticeable that much. It's not off too much. I think you can pull it off pretty easily. Let's see how he holds this new accessory. It's a new grip hand. It's got a flat edge that meets with the handle, and you put that in. If you put it in correctly, he holds it pretty well. And it spins. As spinning things should. One thing I noticed, at least on my copy, the original head sculpt stays on the ball joint a little better. When I try to articulate the new head a little bit, it seems like it wants to pop off the ball joint a little more. Could be just where it's already stretched out, and this has just now been put on the figure. But if you want to recreate the evil Thor not battle damaged, you got that look too. I'm not really sure this actually justifies the deluxe price point, but it's still a good looking figure nonetheless. This has always been a great sculpt. I love the details on the arms on this figure, and the actual body sculpt of the figure is really well done. I did have one QC issue with this one. I got so focused looking at all the eyes and the disc and getting painted, I completely missed. There's a big old gob of glue right there at the cape. I'll probably just take a little bit of semi-gloss black and go over top of it, but it's there nonetheless. And at the premium price point of these things are getting, I would like to don't have to go through and pick out the best ones, especially since they're going away with the windows. And a lot of the ones I was looking at too, like the faces weren't painted really well, the robotic face. And you had the bad marbling effect too on a lot of the helmets. This one paints pretty well clean compared to all the ones I've compared to. Just that one little bit of glue. And you see the color of the boots coming through on the top of the the knee pads. I need to touch that up too. Still a good addition to my collection. I like having the Ragnarok, but you know, I actually would have preferred one of the last appearances of Ragnarok. I think it was the Dark Avengers. They went into a pocket dimension from AIM had created, and he picked up the hammer of the Thor in that pocket dimension, and he got a completely different look. His bald head, red color scheme of the costume. Would have loved that version of Ragnarok. Plus, especially would have differentiated it from the original Thor more. Would have been great to have a lot different look than just straight up Thor re-release with a few extra parts. Would love to seen that evil version of Pocket Dimension where you have the hammer, a real hammer of Thor. If I remember correctly, only the unworthy could have used that hammer. That's why Ragnarok was able to use that hammer in that Pocket Dimension. And he actually transformed into the look of that Thor. Would have loved to seen a release of that one. That's when John Walker got his arm and leg back too. U.S. agent. But anyway, thank you for taking the time to watch the review. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And I'll catch y'all next time.